Hello and welcome to the Build With Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer and I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the tier 2, blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, reply with those emotes. If you are not yet a subscriber, you just go ahead and throw in somebody else's emotes. Just say hi if you want to just say hi. Or if you feel like being a lurker, there's a thing you can do, which is to not say anything. That's okay as well. Or maybe a little bit you'll jump in, you want to pop into conversation. That's cool too. Take your time with it. Ghost Valve is here. Hello, Ghost Valve. Lashbrook is here. Hello, Lashbrook. Aristofan is here. Hello, Aristofan. We already have a solid crew of folks. I'm happy you're all here. I'm going to adjust my chair a little bit here. There. I feel better about that. That's better. Let's see that the mic, for some reason, something weird is happening where this microphone stand was randomly appearing in frame, and it shouldn't. That's one of the reasons why I have the border, is so that this stand doesn't appear in frame. So we're already off to a stellar start. Lord Crash says, hey Pat, I started Balatro, and this sure is a game for deviants. Yeah. I think Rob Zachney put it best. I now understand Balatro more, and I'm doing way worse than I did a couple hours ago. It's like any kind of card game where you're good at it because you don't understand the rules fully, and you're willing to take unnecessary risks, and then you start to have a deeper understanding of how the game works, and then you're just not doing as well. So yeah, that game is fun though. It ain't bad. It's good. Sorry. I don't know why I'm just like not fully comfortable and in the zone here. I don't know what it is. I was fine on Tuesday. Thank you to everybody that joined me on Tuesday for my WWE 2K24 stream. That was a lot of fun. It was a good time. We took a look at that game, and we might be doing that again this month. Definitely next month, but I might... In 2 weeks, we might play that game again. I don't know. Because I had a lot of fun, and we still don't know. We still have some belts that need to get decided. So I have a card with some creator wrestlers, and then also there'll be more creator wrestlers because the game officially comes out tomorrow. It was just out for people that spent more money than they probably should have on Tuesday. I'm still getting unlocks. It's still okay, even when I have bad luck run. Black deck. Aristofan talking about Balatro. Yes, I understand. Sometimes you're just not doing great. Sometimes you just get this green deck and you're just like, I'm rocking and rolling. And sometimes you just get stuck. You don't know what's going on. Anyway, I know what's going on. I'm going to work on a model kit and I'm going to talk to all of you. So let's go to the overhead. Booyah. There we are. Here it is. It's the Hyaku Shiki. Lord Crescent says, that's what my experience with Hearthstone. And why I didn't stick with it. I understood the mechanics, but the meta did not make any sense to me. See, that's for me. That's why I've been fine, because I benefited by them doing standard and wild when they split up the user base for their rotation of standard cards and then any card you want to play. That opened up a world of possibility for me in Hearthstone, where I didn't have to be meta, because there was like now 2 metas. But there was enough breathing room for just people that wanted to play whatever the fuck they wanted to play. So that's why I'm still with Hearthstone in its 10th year, if you can believe it. We got a foot done here. Of course, we got our upper half that we finished on Monday. Continuing to work on this kit here. But yes, thank you everybody that tuned in yesterday for WWE 2K24. That was a good time. I had fun with it. We'll be revisiting that. Because, of course, wrestler Pat Baer, I am not done tweaking. I have gone in and I have given the digital wrestler version of me proper taunts, because I didn't do that. Now I have some bear-related taunts. One of them just like a claw thing. But it's better. I got some good taunts in there. And then I've also made it so that the... entrance version of me, the ring attire version of me, walking down the ramp, has sunglasses on and then regular glasses for the match. I would often wear sunglasses as the League of Heel ringside announcer. So I felt that was good. Thank you for the follow, Aragi. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome to the old Build With Baer Workshop. I stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. The Monday, Thursday, Saturday streams are model kit building, and the Tuesday streams are anything but. Sometimes it's video games, sometimes it's conversation. The end of this month will be an anime roundup because that'll be where we're getting to the point in the season. Lord Crescent says, my main issue with Balatro is that it doesn't have a glossary of terms, so I don't know what retrigger or other terms meant without Googling it to find a Reddit thread that helped. Yeah, I mean, that feels like a quality of life, right? Like that's like a thing that makes sense why it... Not makes sense. You can understand why a small team didn't get that far in the process, and considering that they are dealing with some other things going on right now, it's something that I'm sure it at the very least was considered. And if not, I'm sure plenty of people had said, hey, you made the game, so you know what all this means, but what if you didn't make the game? What then? And hopefully they'll address some of that stuff. It sounds like it sold fairly well, which is nice. Certainly for what they were expecting, it's done. I think it's exceeded their expectations already, so that's good. Of course, they are dealing with the ratings board situation. So hopefully that gets settled amicably and quickly, and they can move on to further supporting the game. One can only hope. Got to snap that piece in. Working on our legs here of our Hyaku Shiki. My patrons of the $5 and $10 variety may have seen that I posted not too long ago a mailbag video, which will go out to the general public tomorrow, of what I'll be building next. A high grade came in. Thank you to whoever purchased that high grade. I won't spoil it, except I will say that our pattern of kits that are of various qualities but look incredible. The Devil Gundam that is hanging out right there, into the Hyaku Shiki, into the next kit. He's looking pretty great. Lashbrook, it says already sold half as well as Infinite Wealth did, which is kind of depressing. I don't know. I think Infinite Wealth seems like a cool video game that people were not expecting to pay for. They were expecting to get on Game Pass. I think the Game Pass deal that will come with that game in the future will do very well for them and their payout from Microsoft when that game goes on Game Pass. The money around that game kind of fucking sucks. Like, hey, I understand. Only some real sickos would New Game Plus immediately. But to put that behind as DLC, when the people who are most adamant and interested in a New Game Plus are your loyalist customers, it feels like a fucking Atlas move. Feels like a real Atlas move, as I'm saying there. So as much as I think that game seems neat and I would like it to do well, I also don't kind of give a shit. I kind of don't fucking give a shit about that because I think that they won't learn the right lessons from this at all. They'll just probably think that they need to bring back certain characters and we got to do this and that and whatever. I don't think they'll learn the lesson. Maybe the larger community, the community at large, was unhappy with us. So that's my thoughts on that. It is not depressing to me at all. There are also a few cards I don't know what they do, like some jokers about getting bonus multis for skipping booster packs, or some I don't get. More Google fodder, I guess. And then Erstfan says a response to that. Kind of explaining the jokers. So some of that feels like, oh yeah, glossary returns would be cool, and some of that is old school game design where you do it, you figure it out by doing it. And I know for some folks that's incredibly frustrating, and I am in some instances I am the same about being frustrated by those things, but in some instances I'm not frustrated by that, and I just go, okay, I'm going to figure this game out and try to remember what I just learned there. So yeah, I don't know. That hasn't been my personal experience with that game. I mostly just been like, all right, I'm going to try this out. Oh, that didn't work out. Okay, well, this run is kind of, all right, well, this run's worthless, so I'll just kind of fuck around to figure it out. We got some gaming news to chat about. I'll say this right now. I don't. Some people are pissed off, I guess, about the Cowboy Bebop Overwatch 2 crossover, and I'm not quite sure what they're pissed off about. If they're pissed off because they think the game isn't being supported properly on a fundamental level, and they wish the people that had been tasked with making this collaboration work had instead been tasked with other balance jobs, which, of course, that's not the same people. Those people aren't being pulled off one thing to work on another. Those are different people in the company doing different things. Artists don't do balance patches. Of course, there are some people working on that. Yada, yada. You know what I mean? So I guess some people might be upset about that, or just upset with Overwatch 2 in general, which I totally understand. But I think some people are mad because, like what, just the idea of it bothers them. And I know that it's not, it's cold comfort to say, well, it's just money changed hands. Like, why did they do this? It's like money. There was a need for it. Somebody somewhere at Sunrise was like, oh, we should leverage Crunchyroll, or it's not Crunchyroll. We should leverage Cowboy Bebop in something. Does anybody know anybody at Epic? Can we get them in Fortnite? No, because of because they're dealing with Toei, but they could be dealing with us. So we'll go back and forth. Well, there's that Overwatch game. They want to collab. Yeah, all right, we'll do that. Sure. And there you go. That is an incredibly generalized version of that, I'm sure. But yeah, I can't bring myself to be mad about that. There's other things to be mad about, in my opinion, than that. Like, I don't know. I wish Overwatch 2 was I wish Overwatch was the game that my friends and I played still. Like, I think my biggest thing with Overwatch 2 is that it's Overwatch 2 and not Overwatch. Like, and that issue is never going to be solved. Just on a fundamental level, they're not going to make that the game I want it to be. And so, okay, you've got, it's like, oh, these characters are just like characters from Cowboy Bebop now. Sure. Cool. Like, I don't know. I think I'm supposed to be mad about it, but I just don't know. Like, I don't know the avenue into it. You know? I guess the only avenue in, my only entry to it, to the anger, is if I was, and I am, a big Cowboy Bebop fan, but I had a different shooter that did collabs, I guess Fortnite, and I wanted to be in that instead, I guess. But also, I'm going to tell you this right now, friends. Who the fuck knows? This could be the first of many weird crossovers with Cowboy Bebop. And it could appear in other games in the future. I don't know. Who's to say? Who could say? But this could be the start of a whole goddamn thing. Or it could be a one-off, and we never hear about it ever again. It just happened. And then in like 3 years, they're like, if you play as if you do the Crunchyroll thing, or not Crunchyroll, I keep saying Crunchyroll instead of Cowboy Bebop. My apologies. If you do the Cowboy crossover thing, it is ending on this date, and you will no longer be able to be dressed as Faye Valentine. So get in those games now of the game you're not really playing anymore. I don't know. I do know that oh god, what website published this? Sorry, I need to figure this out. It's like when I saw that Genshin Impact clone Tower of Fantasy announced an Evangelion crossover thing that made it seem like the game was either bigger than I thought, or the EVA people don't get many pitches offers. And some of that is selective. Some groups are selective, right? Like the rights holders sometimes are just like, yeah, we don't want to do that. Oh, but a partner of ours in another thing is partnered with this company to do that, and we have a working relationship with. We don't have a working relationship with Activision, but our partners have a working relationship with Activision, and this is part of a larger deal that doesn't appeal to anybody or make any sense. But yeah, I don't think it's going to bring in Cowboy Bebop fans. It will most likely, I think, at best, just convince a few people to that play Overwatch to like not give up on Overwatch 2. Like, I think that's about what it is. I have to look this up. So I grabbed this screenshot, and then I realized I don't remember which article it is from, or who wrote this article. AI says the usual stuff. So I'm looking up this title here. Okay, this is PC Gamer. Thank you, PC Gamer, for this. Andrew Wilson over at PC Gamer wrote an article about the CEO of EA that was at this big Merrill Lynch conference with high-ranking people of that ilk, talking about a bunch of bullshit and a bunch of nonsense. And the article, like, I'm not even going to get into the article because fuck the article, but whatever. But I will tell you the subject of it, which I think is fantastic, and the header. EA CEO talks AI. Sorry, one quick second here. Great. Talks AI, says the usual stuff before the bong rip hits, and he starts blabbing about a future where 3 billion people are creating EA's games with it. But basically, the CEO, who clearly has pie in the sky ideas of what AI could do, and was speaking not for the customer, not for the people that are working for the company, his employees. He was just thinking of the shareholders, and the idea being, oh wow, hey, I just got a donation of $70. That's wild. I've been trying to hit a goal to pay off some tax stuff, and that's going to get me really close, if not actually making it, which is wild. I forgot. No, I knew I had my notifications on there. That's right, wild. So basically, the CEO talk was some dumb shit about, I did hit my goal. That's incredible. That's so nice. That's awesome. This is very cool. So sorry, I'm just gonna have to say thank you for that, and then I'm very happy to say that I have now hit my goal, my Ko-Fi goal. So I had taken a couple days. AI cannot replace people. This is nonsense. Saying that your work, 6 months work could be milled down to 6 weeks is ridiculous. There's no evidence of any of that. AI is tools, but is also run by tools. So capital T tools. So it's nonsense. AI is mentioned for potential ventures. Yes, it's hey, we have an avenue to make money and to spend less money on pesky things like healthcare. And we want growth potential. Don't go public, folks. Um, I know a lot of people will talk about Rooster Teeth, and Rooster Teeth should never gotten sold. And to that I say, if you owned Rooster Teeth, those people already got out, and their legacy remains, and now their legacy ends, but they're not out of a job. It's the people who worked for Rooster Teeth that moved along in the transition that then got sold and sold and sold and eventually ended up in Warner Brothers. Those people are out of work, and that's a shame. And the fans are freaking out about losing access to the thing, and that's a shame. And it's a shame. But like, the founders of Rooster Teeth are not like, oh no, what are we going to do? One of them moved out of the US and is just retired. So I ain't worried about those people. But yeah, if you are working at a cool place and then they are like, we're gonna get bought out, but we're in complete control, just realize that your days are numbered at that place, and it fucking sucks. But you should be ready for it, because again, it does fucking suck. And yes, when people like Andrew Wilson from the CEO of EA, when people like Andrew Wilson talk about AI, they are not talking about development tools to streamline things, to make workflows better. They are thinking pie in the sky, like, well, we can get rid of this whole division, and then we can just have like a couple managers take care of it. And we don't need to outsource this work. We can just do it on computers in the cloud. We'll just have the cloud do it. They're looking to, lay off a bunch more people because they can replace those people with AI technologies, even though no one has shown any evidence that any of that is possible or probable or likely. But it sounds good. And you have to be a stupid visionary to think that way. Not a visionary, a stupid visionary. Because, of course, CEOs don't ever face consequences for their actions. So there is no risk. There is no risk in it. Because the reward is so ridiculous and unlikely. But, oh boy, if you get that reward, then you're rewarded. You make all the money. It's, yeah. It's bad. Only, yes, if the CEO commits crimes against the company. If the CEO acts in a way that would reduce the stock price and make investors and shareholders nervous, that is the only consequence you can get. But if it's like, oh, we're losing money, oh, this Beats didn't pan out, well, that's not their fault. That's the employees. And then all of the executive branch goes, yep. And then a couple of them resign and they just get board jobs on other companies because he was an executive at EA. And there's no follow-up. It's just that. It's just the thing of like, oh, okay, well then he must know what he's talking about. Oh, that's the former CEO of EA. I will do no further investigations or thoughts about why he might be looking to work here. Let's see. Dirty says, I dropped off Rooster Teeth back when my $10 annual sub went away due to a PayPal error with the renewal. A lot of folks had the same error happen at the same time that would have forced us to pay the regular annual price instead of the legacy price. And so you put PayPal error in quotes. And like, while I do understand why some people might see that as some sort of insidious ploy to get a bunch of people to pay the regular price and not the locked in legacy price. Like, yeah, but that's a thing that gets you a lot of annoyances. Also, I'll tell you this right now. Companies don't give a shit about people, right? Individuals, their own customers. Nah, doesn't matter. Um, Regulatory bodies could care less. They do care about PayPal. Banking transaction services. Companies care very much about them. Yeah, so you dropped because you're gonna have to pay full price. You're probably already questioning even that locked price, but it was legacy. You have good vibes, you have good feelings, and there's this lingering thing where you're like, well, I don't know who's making the decisions there anymore, and even if I don't know for sure that someone's fucking around, it does feel like someone's fucking around, and I don't need that. But I will tell you that, as I said, I will say that companies don't want to piss off like the payment providers, right? So like a PayPal error and you're starting complaining to PayPal and it limits all that, and suddenly they're like, yeah, I don't know, Dirty. I don't have an answer to you. I don't pay attention to Rooster Teeth. That's not a dig on the fine folks that work there or worked there. That's not me slagging the community, the Let's Plays, the fun video stuff, the podcast. I'm not slagging on any of the content. That was not my jam. That was not my place. When Rooster Teeth did a podcast on Crunchyroll about anime, I thought that was a pretty well-produced podcast. I thought that was pretty good. But I'm not, I was not in the scene. A very good friend of mine is a big Rooster Teeth person, a fan for many, many years, and like early days, like an early adopter. But yeah, they never hit me, so I can't really comment. And then of course, folks, Lord Crashington, the animation is such a small part of Rooster Teeth. They said it. They couldn't figure out how to monetize the fandom. Part of it is the fact that it's animation, but they don't even air that animation. That animation's not aired by Warner Brothers Discovery. That's licensed out to other people. Someone at Warner Brothers said, well, they have all these fans, but those fans don't spend money, so it's not worth it anymore. And that's all it is. They couldn't monetize the fandom. And they literally say that. They literally say that's one of the reasons why. They could not monetize the fandom. That is not me being a doomist. That is people who are bad at their jobs. Completely and utterly bad at their jobs. The parts that are able to make money, like the podcast, are going to be spun off and so on. Also, a reminder that when you close a service where people are a subscriber to, you have to offer them an alternative. And so sometimes, one of the reasons why Remap got to get the Waypoint subscription stuff over, because Vice wasn't going to be able to offer an alternative to that. So they would have had to have an internal alternative to that, which they didn't have. So it was easier. Warner Brothers may have something they can say is just like that. Same way that I think like Whiskey Media had to offer something. There was some other thing that they offered people because, they were selling that kind of thing. Like, so parts of it but yeah, they just didn't, the numbers didn't add up in a way that I don't fucking have to care about. And then of course, I'm not here to slag on anybody, but in my particular community, some of you are also active in, of course, when we think of Rooster Teeth, We think of the video where folks are complaining about Jeff Gerstmann's Fallout 4 review and what he said about Fallout 4 in that review. And while they are complaining and baffled by his reasoning, they are wearing Pip-Boys provided them to them by Bethesda. And it is completely and utterly tone deaf. I personally don't necessarily agree with Jeff on Fallout 4. I like Fallout 4 quite a bit. I played a lot of that game. I agreed with him about some of his thoughts on the flaws. Just those flaws didn't ring true enough to me to make me not like the game. I enjoyed the game in spite of, or even in some instances because of its flaws. But I could still recognize that Jeff has a valid opinion on those things, and also the lack of self-awareness was incredible. Yeah. Well, yeah, PC has mods and is more of a staple product. And in fact, the community on the PC will often do stability patches. Get some fan stability patches going there and make your experience better. But yeah, like I said, that's like what I think of when I think of Rooster Teeth, and I know that's not fair to the many people there that work hard to make cool shit that people really liked. But the two things I think of when I think of Rooster Teeth are Ruby, and again, of course, the Fallout 4 Gerstmann stuff, which was classic. It is a fun example. Well, so that's the thing, right? Like, I'm not going to comment too much on it because I haven't really watched it, but I think it depends on what you're looking for, right? Like, I am not going to watch some kind of funny stuff, right? I'm not going into a kind of funny podcast or video or stream about like the upcoming Ghostbusters game and thinking this is going to be fair, down the middle, games journalism. No, because Greg Miller is going to be working on the premiere of the movie, and he's going to do and they're going to do promotion for the video game that's coming out. And Greg Miller's not going to talk shit about a bad video game because he loves the Ghostbusters franchise too much. And expecting him to do otherwise is not understanding their core fundamentals. And if you don't like it, of course, don't engage with it. Totally. 100%. If that's not your if that's not your jam, if that's not your vibe, then yeah. You like, I think like that's an easy pass for some people. That's an easy to go like, no, not interested. Like, Jeff's not going to like Balatro. And when people are like, Jeff, have you played Balatro? They're either looking for him to talk shit about it because they like when Jeff talks shit about things, or they're delusional. You know? Like, I see a lot of comments, right? I see a lot of comments out there. And someone was very surprised. They're like, I can't believe that Jeff isn't talking about the big video game release this week. Because Jeff did a stream about WWE 2K24 instead of doing a stream about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I understand that. I get that. That if you think that the most important game released that week and the game that everyone is talking about is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, you would be surprised that an old school games journalist, a guy who plays everything, in your mind, you'd be surprised why he wouldn't be covering that game. But Jeff finds himself in a unique position where Jeff is just doing what Jeff wants to do. So instead of playing new games constantly, he plays them. But instead of streaming new games constantly, he takes 3 hours out of his week to stream NES games, some of which his audience has never fucking heard of and will never think about again. And other people are like, this is the only thing I care about that Jeff does. But that's a unique position that he's in. And I can understand why, if that is a game that you are passionate about, you would be like, I can't believe that Jeff isn't talking about this thing. Because you have made a decision about what kind of games he likes and what kind of games he should be talking about. I know that the Nextlander folks have talked about this before, and it's an interesting conversation of like, they're still trying to break the GameSpot and then also Giant Bomb as well. They're trying to break the habit of always having to play all three of them. The idea that all three of them need to play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. A game that, like, I don't know if Alex Navarro's ever going to put another minute into that game. Like, he did for the conversation, but, like, I don't think he's going to keep up with that. He might, and I can't say that for sure one way or the other, but, like, they don't have to. They shouldn't have to play every major game weeks in advance to have an opinion on that game. Nah. Yes, Jeff Gerstmann has better things to do than playing a game he's not necessarily interested in playing, like, or streaming, like, of course, buying a terrible device he shouldn't have bought that makes his room smell bad. But I don't know. I think that, like, expectations are interesting, right? Very small. Xlander likes to give anything popular a shot and see if it's their thing too. Yes, but there's a difference between Nextlander as an entity and Vinny, Brad, and Alex as individuals, and they've been talking about this. Talking about this on Patreon podcast, the Q&A podcast and stuff. They have talked about this. Do all three of them need to play every fucking new video game of major importance? Do they have to? Do all three of them have to be on every single Nextlander stream? Can a Nextlander stream be Vinny playing Cyberpunk? Can a Nextlander stream be Brad playing an old save file of his and getting caught up on something? Can it be Alex playing drum? Does Vinny need to hang out while Alex plays Rock Band? And I think that's interesting that those questions, to me, a guy on the outside, friends with them, of course, but a guy on the outside, to me, those questions would have been asked and maybe possibly answered before they started streaming. But to them, it didn't. I don't think it occurred to them. Because they're a 3-person team, so of course they would stream all together every time. And now they're starting to, into the life of it, go like, all right, well, what does that mean? And what do you have? Yeah, all three of them should be on their major podcasts, right? A Patreon Q&A, all three of them. The weekly Nextlander podcast, all three of them. But do all three have to be on their Patreon bonus, the kind of like anything but video games one? Like, I can have a guest on that. Don't have to have all three on there. Somebody's not feeling right or something comes up, their internet's getting wonky, I can just record it without them. Feels weird, though. And I think that's interesting. Very interesting to me. As we start to, I think it's an ongoing conversation, and I think that, like, we are all going to play every game and talk about every game and be authoritative on every game is, like, only goes so far. And, I'll say I'm guilty of that kind of stuff where I'm like, I'd really love to see Vinny play Mars First Logistics. I think Vinny would like Mars First Logistics. I think he would make some crazy nonsense vehicles and have a really good time with it. But like, I don't know, when that game comes out 1.0, I'll hope that he plays it. But like, I'm not going to be bugging him about it. That's not how I operate. That's not what I'm about. I would like to see him play it, but if he doesn't do it, that's fine. It's like, I think that's a Vinny Caravella game, but like, I'm not here to demand that Vinny Caravella plays a Vinny Caravella game. Yes, there's a lot of early access, but also, Lord Crashington, they do play quite a few early access games of that type. They're not opposed to it, so I don't know. And they do have to think about, what are they excited about it? What do they think their audience might be excited about? Can this be a series? This is the one-off. How's it going to do on YouTube? How's it going to do on Twitch? There's a certain thing of just like there are people who tune in no matter what, but there are people that tune out for other things. I'm the same way about streams where like, I like these people. They're playing a video game I don't give a shit about. I might go check something else out, It is what it is. Next week, I am most likely playing a video game that I don't know if anyone here has heard of. And that's okay because it's coming out this weekend. And it had a little bit of love. It made some buzz on some wholesome directs and stuff. But I don't know a lot of people that are talking about Summer House. Right now, Summer House is winning the poll of my Patreon poll of what I should do next Tuesday. So if that wins, the next Tuesday, I'm going to play Summer House. And like, I don't know if anyone's going to bat an eye about it. But they sent me a code, which is interesting. And if my patrons want me to play that game more than they want the other options I provided, then I'm going to play that game. And it should be cool. And it's a game that I think looks neat. I'm interested in checking it out. It's got cool art style, and I think it's going to be a fun, kind of chill placement thing. And do some light puzzles, it seems like. I don't know. It looked neat. I'm excited to figure it out. But I totally understand if some people are going to be like, because there are some of y'all, Tuesday, you are never here on a Tuesday. You're just not here on a Tuesday. And then there's like a couple of you, shout outs to Nathan, Explosion, and a few other people. You are here for the anime talk. You are most excited about Pat Bear's Anime Club. And I love you for it. I'm very happy. Some of y'all, Pat Bear's Anime Club is the Tuesday you are not here. And that is okay. I understand. Some of y'all are interested in the conversation. You're interested in the fact that I read all of your messages and I reply to almost all of them. And at least the first hour, I am up for conversation about things. And the second hour, I want to talk about the anime I've been watching, and maybe I won't stop talking about the anime I'm watching to respond to a thing that someone wrote in chat, and I will do it after the fact. But yeah, occasionally I pause, but I will not be convinced to get off topic in the second hour. Some games are good to jump in early, and some are fine to wait to 1.0. Yeah, and there's also other releases, other things coming out, things you're interested in. But like, I don't know, I like the freedom right now. And this is all coming in the idea that, not everybody is run that way. And it almost felt weird. Like, sometimes it does feel weird. Sometimes it's like the thing of like, hey, why do you do this? Like, is there an element of your audience that is super into this one kind of thing? Are there people on the staff that are really passionate about it? And like, I'm never going to know the answer to some of those questions, like I'm not like, is this ticking a box for someone that makes more money than you do above you on the food chain? That is like, these are the things I envisioned for you and your thing. And then you're like, all right, well, we'll try a couple of them, but like, I don't know, but we don't want to say no. Because this idea at least could be good, as opposed to the ideas that we've been rejecting. God. I hope and pray that none of you watching this now live or on the VOD later, I hope that none of you are ever in the position where you realize, I have said no to so many things. I have to say yes to something. And that you go and do a thing and spend time and energy and money on a thing simply because it was the least bad idea. Because it's demoralizing. I have been there. I did not like that. That was a rough period where I was on a team of people and we were going to try the least bad thing, knowing it would not work. Very small example. Very small example. I was asked, or directed, I should say, I was directed to change up how my announcements. My announcements when I was working for the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in New York, at the East Village location, I was asked to change up announcements. All of us were asked to change up some announcements to promote the bar. And originally it was like, we should have a couple times during a show where we get on the mic to promote the concession stand. You know, we called it a bar, but legally it was a concession stand because that was the thing there. It was a concession stand that only sold beer and wine and soda. But it was still technically a concession stand. But we always called it the bar. So we're going to promote the bar. You got to plug the bar. You got to plug the bar. And I countered with, like, we shouldn't, because it makes us seem like we can mention it once, but we shouldn't mention it multiple times. And it went back and forth. Okay, well, how about when I do my, like, turn your cell phones off, whatever, I say something, we say something like, if you need to get yourself a drink, you can head to the bar. It'll be open during the show. And if there's an intermission, I'll say, and it'll also be available during the intermission. Instead of me saying something at the top of the show, during the intermission, and then right before the intermission ends, like a last call. What if in the beginning I mention if the show has an intermission or not? And they were like, that works. That's good. And throughout the years, I got pretty good at recognizing when somebody had an idea and you couldn't just say, we shouldn't do that. But you could say, are you open right now to a counter idea? Because often myself, some of the house managers had more practical experience than the people making suggestions to us, because they hadn't worked front of house. They hadn't been interns and employees at the venue. They didn't have experience working in live venues. They just had, well, what if we did this? And it's like, have you ever seen any business like ours do that? You know, we should steal from the ones that are doing things that we think cool. I'll tell you about an idea that we stole, an idea that I think was great. The Upright Citizens Brigade Theater ran a festival called the Del Close Marathon. We had multiple venues across the city and lines of people, but sometimes people would line up at one venue and they wouldn't be at another one. And they wouldn't know. Like, they were like, well, I'm not going to go walk, 10 blocks to find out that venue's also full. And so I suggested that we steal an idea that I had seen used at the Penny Arcade Expo. PAX has the Twitter account, PAX Lines. And on PAX Lines, they would tell you if a room was at, like, seating available in this room, we're at 60% capacity in this room or whatever. And so we did that on our main Twitter account. And it was like in our brochures, it would say like, for find out that you follow us at whatever, like DCM, whatever it was. And we would do that thing where we'd be like, hey, such and such venue, Theater 80 is at 50% capacity for the show that's starting at this time. If you are waiting in line for the main theater, consider heading over to the Theater 80. Or if you're the East Village, here's your options here. FIT standby for the FIT show is at such and such time at such an event. And I was like, because I'm all in favor of stealing ideas that work. Should absolutely steal it. Because I don't want to say, I don't know who at Reed came up with that idea. It might not have been anyone at Reed who came up with that idea. They may have seen someone else do it and somebody just suggested it. You know, like I have no idea where that idea came from, but it's a fucking great idea. And so someone should steal it. So I'm always in favor of stealing some good ideas. I'm less in favor of trying a bunch of bullshit for no reason. And people in power love to try a bunch of bullshit for no reason. They absolutely love it. They were like, we don't know if this would work and it would alienate people, but we should just try it. Oh, they love that. Can't get enough of it. Yes, because they don't have to do it. You're right. They don't have to do it. They don't have experience doing it. Very quickly, before we take our pause to the cause, hey, Okada is in All Elite Wrestling. AEW now has Okada. That is a wild, true, real thing. It felt inevitable, but he is there, and that is neat. It is cool that Okada is All Elite. He's a heel. He's part of the Elite with the Young Bucks. Kenny has been kicked out of the group, and Hangman Adam Page is suspended. And it's fun. They used Eddie Kingston properly in a way to get actual heat for Okada. The thing, you know, they did the like, hey, here's your moment to be excited. Okada's in the company. Oh, now Okada's a bad guy. Boo this man. And it's great. Yes. Hey, hi, Lysandus. And then yes, Lord Crashington. Kenny is indefinitely out to recover from variety of illnesses. There is no timeline. He's streaming now. He's doing some streaming. He's doing some partnered streaming and some streaming on his own. Good for him. Happy for him. But yeah, Kenny Omega on the injured reserved list. We'll see if and when he makes a grand return to the ring. But I don't fucking know. Had a disease that's real bad on the body. That is no joke. So hopefully. Yeah, I mean, he's getting his break. It's just hopefully that he can recover. But yeah, really happy that Okada is in AEW. I do think the idea of him being in WWE would have been way more interesting, but it makes way more sense for Okada to be in AEW. He's going to be wrestling. We won't see it until Saturday. He has already wrestled because they taped Collision tonight. In the same venue that they were there last night. But yeah, so he already wrestled his first match for AEW and it'll air on Saturday. And that's wild and weird and cool. Love that he's a heel. If this means I don't know what happens, where we go. But if it means that we get Okada versus Eddie Kingston, that's wild and great. They tagged in a New Japan Strong show last year, and seemed to get along fine. But they're like, I don't really care about you, but I know that you hate the same people I hate. So I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go with it. I don't actually know if he'll feud with Eddie, or Eddie was just the smart choice for him to seemingly back up and then betray immediately. But it's good shit. It's good shit. I honestly, they should win the trios titles. They should beat the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn for the trios belts. That would be very fun. I think that would be great. Because then the Acclaimed could just do stuff in the tag division instead of being in there. I mean, the betrayal will come from their friends, but it would be very funny if they became the trios champion. If Okada's first belt in AEW was the trios belt, The least prestigious of all belts. Be very funny. I'm a little bummed because there is no way Kingston is retaining against Okada. Well, that's why, Lashbrook, I don't think it would be for the title. I think it would be part of, I don't think it would be a title match because I don't think they're going to put the cup on Okada because he is too big for those lesser belts. Because it's a strong belt. He doesn't care about that. It's an ROH belt. He doesn't care about that. And it's a mid-tier AEW belt. So I don't think he's beating Eddie because I don't think they're going to wrestle. Because I don't think they want to put those belts on him. Because if they wanted those belts to move off to somebody else, they would have put them on Danielson. Who I guess is now teasing, like basically blatantly saying that he wants to wrestle Will Ospreay, which would be fucking great. Because also Will Ospreay is just there now, putting on bangers at the main event, doing fucking pay-per-view style matches on a Wednesday. Somebody's got to tell that kid to slow down a tad. Don't have to go that hard. It's cool that he did. Doesn't have to go that hard. And all right, so this is gonna go here. But yeah, AEW's got some good shit. Big business next week. We're gonna get Mercedes. Like, people were like, what if it's a joke? What if it's not Mercedes Moné and it's Okada, and that's what the big business is because he's also money themed. But now that they've debuted him this week, it's like, all right, no, it's definitely her. And if it's not her, then they really fucked up in a way that would be incredibly surprising. They would have fucked up so bad if like big business happens in Boston and then, Mercedes Moné doesn't come out. Like, it would just make no sense. I'm still confused about that because I'm like, I mean, you'd think that she would immediately have a title shot, but it don't make any sense to have her and Tony Storm because Tony Storm's gimmick is so fucking good. People aren't going to boo her. I don't know. I guess she doesn't have to be in the title picture immediately, but it does feel weird if she isn't. I can't get this part in. I want to take a pause for the cause, talk about ways you can support the channel and all that, but I can't do that until I put this piece together. And it doesn't want to go together. It's being weird. I'm going to make sure this is C27. Yeah, it's C27. Why are you being weird? You got to go like this, and you got to go like that. I can't even look at the other side because it's in there. It's somewhere in there. Yeah, why are you like this? I don't want to break anything, but it's just weird. This needs to go. This piece needs to go in there. This needs to pop right in that little hole there. And then it goes in like that. And then I go and do it. And it doesn't work. And I don't know why. And it's weird. Just doesn't want to work. Yeah, I don't want to take this apart just to find out. So, sorry everybody. We will take a pause of the calls and talk about ways you can support the channel and do all that stuff. But like, why are you being awkward and weird, thing? This goes in like that. And then this peg has to go in that peg. And it does. And then this should just slip right in, but it doesn't. And I don't know why. Huh. Yeah, it's weird. It's just not fitting in right. I don't know why. I'm gonna take this off. Gonna. Yeah. That's got to go in like that. This little peg on this here has to fit into this part. It basically fits in like this. I'm trying to line this up right. Just play around with it. All right, that fits in now. Okay, let's try it again. You never want to force a piece of plastic to do what you need it to do, but all right, there we go. I just had to be a little rough with it, which I don't particularly enjoy about working with plastic like that, but I did. Had to get a little weird with it, but it did work out. We did it. Now is the part of the stream, folks, where I'm going to talk to you about ways you can support what I do here. Everything I'm about to talk to you about is completely optional. None of this stuff is stuff that you got to do, that I need you to do, that I can't make it if you don't do it. But it would be cool if you did. First and foremost, if you're currently a subscriber to the Build With Baer Workshop, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat if you're a Tier 2 subscriber. Being a subscriber is the easiest way to support what I do here through cash money, through your Prime Gaming token. You can set up and be a subscriber through recurring monthly. Or use your Prime Gaming token. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link it with your Twitch. You get that token. You can use it on somebody. You can use it for me. You could also gift a sub to somebody in the community. You just do that. We have had 0 gifted subs this month. If you want to be the first one to do that, you could. We are currently at 26 out of 50 subscribers. The goal is to hit 50. I always bring that up because I want to hit 50. If you want to become a subscriber, tonight will be an awesome time to do that. Also, bits and coins always appreciated if you want to be the top of the cheerleader board. But yeah, gift a sub, become a subscriber. You could do that. You could do that. I have other ways to support me, including my Patreon. At patreon.com/PatBear, there's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards at different tiers. Consider joining me on Patreon. In addition to or instead of here on Twitch. But yeah, see if Patreon makes sense for you. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBear. Over there, subscribing is free, obviously, on YouTube. But if you want to become a member, you could do that. You get a YouTube membership over there for $2 a month. You get my Wednesday videos a day early. The one I just put up yesterday, you got to see on Tuesday. So that's something to consider. So we got YouTube, got that. There's also direct donations. My Ko-Fi or my PayPal. Those are other ways to support me if you want to help me out, but not on a monthly basis. You want to just do it one time. And everything I make through direct donations through YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos helps me out, through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into fund, and from that fund spews forth model kits that I purchased, like the Hyaku Shiki. I saw this, and I was like, I want to build that kit. I have another kit that I just purchased today with Patreon money. For the 5 folks that support me on Patreon, that came through and cleared, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to buy yet. And then I saw a reasonable price for a kit that looks like it could be a Death Scythe. It's not a Death Scythe, but it's Death Scythe adjacent, and that was enough for me to go, I want that. So now I'm going to have that. That's coming in the mail this week. That'll be a future build. And I got a backlog of stuff I'm happy to build, and I appreciate everybody that supports me in that way. I should say, if you decide that you would like to see me build a particular model kit and you want me to build it as soon as possible, you can be like the anonymous person that picked up a model kit that arrived to me today. That'll be the next thing I build. And you could buy something off my Amazon wish list. It'll come in the mail. I'll make a dedicated YouTube video about the kit that you have purchased, or kits. And then it will jump the queue and become the next thing I build. I have, let me just real quick check a thing here. Oops. I have to just check something really quick here. Let's just do that. Yeah. I have model kits, Lego sets, inexpensive kits, expensive kits, a wide variety of things that I would be happy to build. You can find that on my Amazon wish list that was in the link included. All kinds of stuff. Again, inexpensive kits, very expensive kits, all varieties of things. And if you want me to build those, you can just buy them, and I'll make a video about it. And let me just do this. Sorry. I've reset a few things on my computer here, and there we go. That's what I want to do. I reset a few things in my web browser, and I have to agree to some stuff in there. But yeah, there's some inexpensive books. There's some kits, all of that. Like I said, I did get something in the mail today that someone bought. Hello, Vicky. Welcome. Somebody bought off my Amazon wish list that I will be building soon, and you could join in on that if you wanted to. I also have a wish list on Throne. That is my Amazon alternative. I would be happy to build something that you bought on Throne if you want to do that. And then, of course, USA Gundam Store. The most difficult way to support me financially, the most convoluted way. You go to USA Gundam Store, buy a gift card there. They send you an email with the gift card code. You then send me a whisper on Twitch or a DM on Twitter with that gift card code, and then I use that to buy a model kit. And then I build that model kit on stream, and it works out pretty great. If you want to support me and not spend any money, you can always join my Discord. You're more than welcome to come hang out in the Discord. I post build photos. People post stuff they're working on. It's a nice place. Come hang out in the Discord. Other things. I have a couple anime or videos. That's right, videos. But they're about anime. Pat Baer's Anime Club. I put up a new episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club where I go through all the results for this year's Crunchyroll Awards, the 2024 Crunchyroll Awards, and I give my thoughts on the winners and what should have won and what didn't even fucking get nominated. And I try not to get super mad about some of it, but some of it does make me upset. And then, of course, Kuma Baer, your weekly anime recommendation. This week, I made a video about Laid Back Camp. So hopefully in under a minute in that video, I can convince you to give one of my favorite anime of all time a chance. You should check that. Little video out. I've really enjoyed doing Pat Baer's Anime Clubs. I actually want to see how that one is doing. Hi, I'm Pat. That was my voice. Sorry, everybody. I did not mean to click on that. I meant to click on the YouTube Studio. I want to see how that video is doing. That video is not doing particularly great. It got 1 like and 1 dislike, which is a shame. So, I don't know. Click on that link and hit the like button. I don't know why Laid Back Camp hasn't done any numbers. It's okay that it didn't. I would like it to do more. It's only been a day. Huh. Oh well. Can't win them all. You know, I'd like people to see them because I do enjoy making those videos. But at the end of the day, it's all right if they don't. I like when I see a random video I made has a dislike. Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I will say that my regular video, longer form content, almost never has dislikes. Shorts get dislikes. YouTube Shorts definitely get dislikes more than other things that I have made because people have their thumb and they're scrolling. Not a lot of people. It seems like nobody's watching Shorts on YouTube. They're watching Shorts on their phone. They have the YouTube app open and they're seeing Shorts, and that's how they're seeing those. And most people are scrolling through it like they would through Reels on YouTube or on Instagram, I mean, or TikTok just in general. And so I think it's a way easier to hit a dislike and then move on, right? People rarely, it seems like, go through the process of like, hey, don't recommend this to me ever again. I do that because I don't want Joe Rogan videos. And YouTube Shorts seems to think I want Joe Rogan videos. And I'm like, I absolutely don't want that. I don't know why you think I want that. I don't watch things that are related to that. I guess I watch things that people watch who also watch Joe Rogan videos, which it seems like a diss on me as a person. Anyway, those are video links that I would love for you to check out. We have anime to chat about, and we will chat about that anime. But first things first, I need to drink some water. So I'm going to do that. And then we'll get back to anime talk and model kit building in just a moment. Here we go. All right. It's time. There's some big bummer news on the internet in case you have to look at your phone, says Lashbrook. That's ominous, Lashbrook. And so, okay. Okay, yeah. I only had to scroll a little bit for that. So, yeah. I only had to scroll just a little bit to see that, yeah. Speaking of anime, it has been reported that Akira Toriyama has passed away at the age of 68. And by reported, I mean this comes from the Dragon Ball official US account. And by official, they do have the gold check mark to let you know that they are considered legit. And we get, looks like the Bird Studio, Capsule Corp. Say, and I'm just going to read it. Fuck it, I'm just going to read it. Dear friends and partners, we are deeply saddened to inform you that manga creator Akira Toriyama passed away on March 1st due to acute subdermal hematoma. He was in age of 68. It's our deep regret that he still had several works in the middle of creation with great enthusiasm. Also, he would have had many more things to achieve. However, he left many manga titles and works of art to this world. Thanks to the support of so many people around the world, he has been able to continue his creative activities for over 45 years. We hope Akira Toriyama's unique world of creation continues to be loved by everyone for a long time to come. We inform you this sad news with gratefulness of your kindness during his lifetime. Funeral services will be held by his family and very few relatives. With his family, I should say, not by. With his family and very few relatives. Following his wishes for tranquility, we respectfully inform you that we would not accept flowers, condolence gifts, visiting, offerings, and others. Also, we ask you to refrain from conducting interviews with his family. Future plans for commemorative gathering is not decided. We will let you know when it's confirmed. We deeply thank you for your understanding and support as always. And that's definitely machine translated, but certainly gets the point across and is a real shame. It's a real shame. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I would say saying, like, hey, there's a thing going on is probably the right approach. We can say that before we get into details as I continue to work on this model kit and then talk about some other anime. I would say, hey, there's a thing going around the internet. Does cause me to go and look at it. It is different from you breaking the news in chat, which I'm not always the biggest fan of. We do have because we will be streaming for another 40 minutes. We do run the risk that someone will come into chat and say, have you talked about Akira Toriyama yet? Because that's how the internet works. Because people who have not been watching the stream, for whatever reason, need to share that news. Sometimes it could even be in the title of the stream. And people will come in and go, oh, did you talk about that? Oh, have we talked about this? Which is the weirdest fucking thing. Now, y'all have been here since the stream started, just about, give or take a couple minutes. So, like, you know that I don't know that information. But I would not be surprised if someone comes to chat, and because I talk about anime on this very stream would be like, oh, I want to talk to Pat about this. And it continues to be weird. But I think like, hey, here's a heads up. There's some, there's some sad news going on the internet, and you might see it. I think that's a fine thing, because that is the thing that I would like to talk about. We'll also talk about it on Saturday, I'm sure, in greater length and greater depth. I certainly have thoughts on the subject of Akira Toriyama. I don't want to get hyperbolic about anything that he's done, but he certainly had an influence on me and my interest in anime. Dragon Ball, the 13-episode dub of Dragon Ball, is a seminal, like, for me, even if it is not a good dub, is important to the man that I am now, for sure, for damn sure. That dub opens up a window and an avenue for entertainment that would become the primary entertainment for me for many, many years, and have a huge influence in the kind of stuff that I was into and what I liked and what my friends liked and what we shared together. That I don't know if there's like very few people I can say about that outside of Akira Toriyama that like are that influential in like the things that I love and I enjoy and I like talking about, and I like communicating with other people about those things. Like, I think it's like it would be hard to argue there's someone more important than that. It's weird. It's fucking weird. And a shame. And my condolences to his family. But that is, that's a strange thing to wrap your head around. There's a Dragon Ball series coming out this year. There's a fucking series with Chibi Kid Goku again. De-age Goku is coming back in style. There'll be more Super. There's stuff they haven't adapted yet. There'll be more Super. There'll be other weird Dragon Ball stuff. Sandland. There's stuff out there of his. As it said, there was stuff he hadn't done yet, and it's weird and strange. Strange to think about. But yeah, it's a real shame. And again, obviously, condolences out there. And we will talk more about that on Saturday. I will do my best to prepare my thoughts more. And talk about that on Saturday. Yeah. It's just a powerhouse and a force. And also a reminder that Chrono Trigger rules. Chrono Trigger fucking whips ass. And also Dragon Warrior. Dragon Warrior is pretty cool too. Dragon Quest. It's pretty cool shit. Did some goddamn kick-ass game designs in his time. But yeah, obviously a primary thing would be the Dragon Ball series. So one thing that we do is we press on. That is a thing that we do, is that we will move on and we will talk about some anime that I watched that were not made by Akira Toriyama, but were made by other people. And they're both episodes that involve Villainnesses. Villainess level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord. is the first episode that we will talk about. We are now, this episode, crossed over from what I know of the manga into stuff that happens in a light novel that I have not seen the manga of. So this was interesting for me. I was waiting for it. I was like, all right, we're getting to the point now. We're going to pass where I've read into uncharted territory, and we got there in this episode. The cliffhanger of last week's episode was that a man seemingly approached Yumiella and identified himself as a spy for a neighboring kingdom, and he asked for an audience with her. And we find out that this dude, whose name is Lunas is like, hey, I'm from Remlist, the neighboring country. I've been observing you. I know what's going on. I've seen you since you entered school. Yada, yada, yada. Hey, I know that you don't care about wealth and you don't really have strong ties with anyone. I've told my supervisors, superiors, you're not interested. You wouldn't defect. You wouldn't come to our country. He's like, yeah, I don't have any interest in doing that. And he's like, okay, but like, why though? Because you it's very clear that, your hair color, your eye color, you're being disrespected by this country. So I'm not quite sure. And she actually has to think herself. She doesn't say, oh, because I realize there's a dude I like. And also Patrick, her friend, his family is on the border. And so if there was a conflict between the two countries, they would be caught up in it. And she's like, I don't want him to be my enemy. And also, because she recognizes, she's like, look, well, what would happen if I went to your country? Well, you'd be part of the civil, military, basically. She's like, yeah, all right. Well, you use me for wars. And definitely a war would happen if I defected. So, no, I'm good. She's also like, look, I'm here in part because someone has to defeat the Demon Lord. And then we get this weird thing that I don't remember picking up on in the manga. So maybe it wasn't the manga and it was only in the light novel. I have to go back because I don't remember it. Loomis says they're only going to attack this country, though. Implying or basically stating that, at very least, other countries believe that when the Demon Lord shows up, it's only going to target the country that she's currently in, which is a weird thing. And doesn't seem to be like knowledge in the video game because Lumiella is confused about that. Anyway, she allows him to escape before he's captured because apparently she's been being watched. She was always aware of that. And we kind of just move away from that. Yumiella gets roped into helping Eleonora study for makeup exams. I love Eleonora. She's so fun. Because we learned a quirk about her. She's not great at memorizing things, and she's not a good student. Unless it's related to Prince Edwin. Because she's only good at studying for things that she's interested in. And the thing she's interested in most is the prince that she is engaged to, that she wants to get married to, that she's definitely not going to get married to, but she thinks Prince Edwin is great. So if it's related to Prince Edwin, she can memorize it. And recent history is of course related to the prince of the country. So like if it's his great-great-grandfather who was a king, of course she'll know all about him. And she can memorize things about him because she's interested in that. It is a fun little personality quirk for our supporting character. And she apparently does well in her midterms, which is great. We find out that Patrick has been very secretive of what he's been up to. We find out he was doing something else, but we learn right here that he's been going to dungeons because at one point, in an effort to get people to stop flirting with her, Yumiella was like, I could never be with someone that isn't as strong as me. And Patrick is obviously not as strong as her. But he does want to get as strong as possible. And he's kind of conflicted on it. He's got this like, they're both 16. He doesn't know that she's a reincarnation. But it's like, we're both 16. And like, she's been just some rough stuff. She needs a support system. but he's a little confused about that because also like, does she really need protecting? Is she normal? Like there's some questions about both those things. Like some of his thinking is a little off, let's say. There is a misunderstanding where Yumiella thinks that he keeps sneaking off to go on dates and that he has a secret girlfriend, which is a weird thing to come to conclusion of. And he's just like, because I think that if he said, I'm leveling up to get stronger, she would want to go with him. So because he hasn't said that, she can't imagine that's what he's doing, is like in secret leveling up, because of course he would understand her method of leveling up. I think that's where the misunderstanding comes in. He kind of clears things up, but before he can confess, she rides off on her dragon, Ryu, I should say. Once again, this dragon is complete CGI and looks fucking terrible. I'm so mad because we got a cool dragon friend, and then this cool dragon friend just looks like ass, and it sucks. And like the wings have to move differently, so the wings aren't CGI, the wings are digital, and it just makes it look 10 times worse, and it's such a fucking bummer. God damn it, I hate it. I hate how it looks. I hate it. B20 and B11. Here we go. We're almost done with the leg. We got a panel on it. Let's see. Other things I can tell you about in this episode. The other thing is that Patrick has been doing is kind of going for bat to bat for Yumiella while talking with Prince Edwin, who had made a lot of accusations. He had made a lot of misunderstandings about her and her powers, and apparently Patrick has been kind of like setting him straight. So Prince Edwin does apologize for he couldn't imagine a world where she had worked harder than him, and so of course she had to be cheating, and then that just snowballed into a bunch of other stuff, and so they kind of make some peace, and she's like, well, the reward I would like is to just like, hey, please let me be on the team to face the Demon Lord, which is what she has to do anyway, but he needs to approve that. So it's just like, yeah, that's fun. And everyone seems kind of pretty happy with his growth. The person who's not growing is Alicia. Alicia needs to help defeat the Demon Lord. She is the light magic user. They need her to like be ready to go and do that work, and she's not up to snuff for it. And the episode ends with Yumiella being like, I'll help train you. I know exactly the right place, which Alicia is freaked out about. And then Alicia is missing, and we see a shot, not the characters, but we, the audience, see a shot of her walking like she is under the influence of a spell. Is this in the game and Yumiella knows what's coming? Or is it because Yumiella was pushing her, or like she felt pushed by Yumiella and went off and then something odd happened? I don't know. I could say I don't know because we are in the portion of the story where I have not read the manga for it, so I don't know. This continues to be a fun series. The misunderstandings of this episode are a little extra, a little bit over the normal weirdness of this series. Some of her misunderstandings and conclusions are a little weird and strange and maybe don't make any sense, but are still good. They're still fun. I'm still happy to watch it. Last says, in better cryptic news, there's a collision spoiler out there of an exciting trios match set up for big business. Nice. I'm going to do my best, as I always do every week, to avoid Rampage spoilers, and I will try my best to avoid Collision spoilers since Collision was taped. I have already been spoiled on one thing, but it's not much of a spoiler, and I will not repeat it, but I will do my best to avoid it. Usually I can do okay because the first hour is happening right before I stream, and then the second hour happens while I am streaming. So this will be different. This will be covered on the various wrestling news stuff that I see. So I will most likely hear a lot of these spoilers. But that's cool. All right, the other anime that I want to chat with you all about is Seven Time Loop. The villainess enjoys a carefree life married to her worst enemy. So what happened? The recap of the last episode was our girl, Reese, is pretending to be a guy so that she can do Knights training. She does not want the head of the Knights to find out, Lawvine. Lawvine is now protecting her and some other people, so he's around, and she's trying to, like, not have him spend enough time with her so that she recognizes, so that he is like, you're the knight, you're doing the Knights training. So there's a little bit of a Three's Company nonsense there. Also, Prince Kyle from a neighboring country, the country of Coilus, is there, and he's apparently sickly. He's got a disease going on. And Reese is trying to, Reese is trying to help this prince from another country because she recognizes it's important that he not die, while also making sure this knight doesn't suspect anything. And then by chance she runs into Professor Mikhail, who is an herbalist. And this was from her third life. When she was going into medicine, she met this herbalist. So obviously he doesn't know her in this life, but they had plenty of a relationship in the past. There's a whole thing where he ends up helping support Kyle and convincing Kyle to take this medicine. But he's like, you seem to kind of hate this whole medicine. And it's not the medicine itself. It's that apparently in her third life, he was willing to use human test subjects, and she was not. Now, she knows that the drug is successful, and they don't have to use test subjects for this medicine now. But his methods, she was against. And that's interesting, right? Because she's using her knowledge of previous lives, like the loop, to make alliances. But that doesn't necessarily mean that every alliance is something that she's interested in and looking forward to, and that every element of her previous lives was going great up until her now fiance, Prince Arnold, caused those things to go away or die. Now she's like, yeah, there are some things that weren't perfect in her previous lives. Let's see. Arnold comes to get Reese and, in his own way of flirting, gives her his pocket watch so that she won't be late. Basically being like, I want my fiance home. So we get a little flirting there. It's nice. Reese tells Arnold that Mikhail considers himself not a researcher, but an alchemist. There's a party. And apparently Kyle's health is doing well. There's a lovely scene because in her fifth life, she was a hunter. So we get to see Reese using her hunting skills, which you haven't really seen before. And her use of her hunting skills is to move around the party in such a way that she is not coming into contact with Lawvine, the instructor. Prince Kyle and Arnold have a conversation. Prince Kyle is like, hey, we would love, my country needs help. If you sent some soldiers, we could pay you in gold and jewels. But apparently Arnold realizes you're trying to con me. In fact, your gold mines are running low. That's why you need to raise, you need support. Let's see. And the country's definitely running out of money and is going to be in trouble. And rather than fight, Arnold basically makes the cold and calculated point. Hey, instead of fighting your enemies for you, we would be much more of a profit if we just took over your country, which he does in a different life. Reese knows that this is important, right? This is a thing. This is a road they shouldn't go down. This is going to further lead to disaster, but she has no way of she doesn't know in this moment how do I convince him of that? How do I convince Arnold this is the thing that they should do? You should be on equal terms with Kyle. But she has no idea how to achieve that goal. And it's interesting because this is like the first major roadblock for her of like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know. And I think that's interesting. This show continues to be fascinating. No action in this one other than like her moving around and trying to avoid. But some interesting interactions. And, we did get 2 episodes about her other lives, which sometimes we don't get a lot about her other lives. And that's the stuff that I enjoy. So it was nice to have that in this episode. And now is the part of the stream where I want to hear from you, friends. What are you watching right now? What are you playing? What's going on? What do you got going? You reading anything? You watching any movies? You playing any video games? We did talk about some stuff in the beginning. I did mess around with some more in WWE 2K24. The stream happened on Tuesday. I was very happy with that stream. We had a good turnout. We did, unfortunately, shouts out to Old Man Woat. We did get raided as we were raiding somebody, which is a shame. As we were going and raiding, we did get raided as we went to go hang out with Will Smith, which was a fun stream. I hung out and watched that stream quite a bit. But yeah, I have been playing Hearthstone. It is the 10th anniversary of Hearthstone, and that is a fun time to do that. So yeah, that's my daily driver. I didn't play since since Monday's stream. I have not played any Helldivers. We were supposed to get together yesterday to play some Helldivers, but then some stuff came up and people weren't available, and then I got sidetracked with something else, and then didn't end up playing it because I could have just played it myself. I do like playing it with my crew. And I can play it with just strangers, but I prefer to play it with the people I know and like. So I didn't end up playing at all since Monday afternoon. And so I would like to get some Helldivers 2 time in. And I do believe I'll have some time tomorrow, which would be great. Let me get this. I don't know what I did wrong here, but I cannot get this connected. So I think I might have put this on. No, did I put this on wrong? Is it supposed to go like that? Lord Crashton says, I'm bummed out now, Pat. I'm definitely going to rewatch Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm bummed out too. I don't want to say that I'm not bummed out. It certainly does affect me. Well, again, we'll probably talk more about this on Saturday because it's a huge bit of news and is a real shame. And again, I'll at some point I'll probably have more to say on the subject. But yeah, it's a big surprise and clearly meant a lot to a lot of people. A huge name in anime, still working to this day. Many things unfinished, as it is said. Let's see. Is there anything else that I want to talk about gaming wise? I don't think so. I really, Solo Leveling still is really good. I am carving out time on Saturday to watch Braven because people keep talking about it, and apparently there have been some twists that were really cool, and that is not a thing that I have any real knowledge of. I watched the first episode and I was like, yeah, all right. And then I didn't give it another thought. And apparently I need to give it more thoughts because it whips ass. So I will give it more thoughts. Because I know plenty of people who are just like, yeah, this fucking whips ass. So I got to give that a shot. Let's see. Aristan says, I'm messing around with Dragon Dogma 2 Character Creator, which just came out. Oh, yeah. Have some fun with Dragon's Dogma 2, everybody. I will not be playing that game. Because I didn't love Dragon's Dogma enough to want to play Dragon's Dogma 2. And also, I do not have the money for video games like that. I have the money for small experiences only for a while now. So I don't expect to be playing that. Took the day off yesterday and powered through the rest of Wano, says Lasrick. Now I'm 2 episodes from being caught up, so likely after this stream I will watch all of One Piece. Hell yeah. Caught up on a huge anime. Congratulations. And also I'm sorry. But yeah, congratulations mostly. Let's see. Dirty says, checking out Skull and Bones, still playing Final Fantasy, STO, and Idle Champions. Mostly waiting for Dragon Ball Dogma 2 and not starting anything new before it drops. Hell yeah. You watched State of the Union while you lurked. Oh, that's right. There was tonight. Let's see. Dreading next week when I'll have to start getting up at 5 to go for 2 weeks of mandatory training. You mentioned that, yes. Also, I'm sorry to hear about your mandatory training. I hope it is a breeze and it is at the very least like somewhat stimulating. There's like some hook or some element to it that you're like, all right, well, if I gotta be here, at least I'm learning about that. Or there's this thing, or this vending machine here is good. Well, I don't know, something. I hope there's something. We got our these are our beam sabers, and the beams for this look good. They go in there, but we don't have to put that in there because they're going to go on the butt. They're going to go hang out here on the butt right there, on that butt. We're going to get body complete on this. We're going to do everything but the backpack here, but we'll get into that. Let's see. Lord Crash says, I've been playing more Fortnite with the season almost over. Got a good victory royale and jumped back into the racing and music modes for a bit with some improvements they've made there. Nice. I keep saying I'm going to go back to... I keep telling myself, yeah, Pat, you're going to go back and you're going to play more of Lego Fortnite. Like, that was fun. You're not really a crafting game guy, but you had a good time in it, Pat, and it was fun on stream, and maybe you'd stream it again, or maybe you just go and do it again, just for yourself, and I have not. I'm probably going to just, uninstall that. I don't think I'm ever going to play it again. It's just not my kind of game. I think it seemed like a fine one of those, but it's not mine. Dirty says, thanks for the heads up, Wrist fan. Downloading it now. Dragon's Dogma 2. Hell yeah. Get that shit. And then Ghost Valve says, Amy liked Braven since it went places. Hell yeah. I have heard it goes places. I'm interested to find out where it goes. And then Ghost Valve says, almost done with The Good Place. Been marathoning it this week. Hell yeah. I'm going to give you a double hell yeah for that, Ghost Valve. One, because The Good Place is fantastic. I'm always continuously and consistently very proud of Darcy. Darcy Carden, who you know is Janet. That is an incredible role, and she just does it so fucking well, and it's ridiculous that she's out there with some heavy hitters and just steals scenes consistently. I'm just so proud of her. Darcy rules. And then also, Ghost Valve, and this is a small little thing, you said marathoning, and I appreciate you saying marathoning. I don't. I try not to make a big deal of it. But there are people in my life who I love very much who are in recovery. And when people say binge, they're going to binge watch something, it can hurt them. Not everyone. There are people out there who are, who have dealt with that and it doesn't bother them. And it's just a word and it's just a common language word. But you can say marathoning. And I don't, as far as I know, saying you marathoned through a TV show does not make marathon runners upset. And if it does, I'm willing to listen, but I don't feel like that would make sense. Whereas people that have a serious issue that they have dealt with in their lives, either recovery or are currently dealing with it, don't love when people say that about that. Oh no, my overhead light just, God damn it. My overhead light turned itself off. I'm so fucking pissed at this thing. I gotta get a new one of these. The battery, it's plugged in. The only thing I can think of is, let me look at this here. The only thing I can think of is that it got loose. I don't know. I gotta replace this. This thing sucks. I'm mad because otherwise it works great. I didn't know that it had a battery and then it had an adapter to recharge the battery. And it's plugged in. I just wanted a USB powered light, a USB powered square light. And the adapter, which I'm using for my other light, works perfectly. But this thing is about to become my backup light if one of my other lights goes. Good Place is top 10 of all time. Totally. It's fantastic. It's an unbelievably excellent series. It always seemed like the sensible word choice. Yeah. Aristman asks, Pat, have you enjoying the wrestling game? So, my stream for WWE 2K24, the archive is up on my VOD channel. Is it VOD or VODs? I can't remember. I think it's VODs. Is it VODs? Yes. There's the link to the VODs, which I never include in conversation, and I should do that more. So the actual playing of it, I've played some of it. I don't play a ton of those kind of games, but I have delved into it a bit. I will say, coffin match, very fun. Ambulance match, not fun. I don't think we're going to stream another ambulance match because it just took so fucking long for that. We will do more of the referee matches because I think that the special guest referee where it's a CPU is the referee. I think that's very fun. I'm bummed that our current BWBW champion is a Nightmare Man, and I don't love that he's the champion. He did win fair and square, but I will someday stack the deck against him to make sure that he loses. And I think we're going to wrap things up because I got to go fucking buy a different light. I hate this. So this light that's right here it'll be here on Saturday, right? Because I'm going to buy a new light. It'll ship from Amazon. I don't think it'll arrive by Saturday. It might arrive by Saturday stream. If I order it now before midnight, it might end up getting mailed out tomorrow and I get it by Saturday. That might not be the case depending on what I buy. I'm going to buy one that's a reasonable price, that is a square light, that has the thread for tripod stuff because that'll work on, or camera because that'll work on the mount that I have here. And hopefully it'll work better. And then this is just going to become my backup in case that new one goes, or the light that is shining on me that I have had. This light right here came with me from New York. So, I like the square instead of the ring, but that ring light has been phenomenal and has not given me any problems. So I don't want to get another ring light. I don't want to get one just like it, even though it works really well, because I like the square shining down. That has been, to me, is better than the ring shining down, because the ring just leaves like a really reflective circle on objects, whereas this just has there is a bit of a bright spot. But you can even see it's darker than it was earlier in the stream. I don't know if you can notice it, but that is true because of this thing. And I'm always going to be constantly worried about it. I'm going to be like making sure that it looks like it's charged, and then like not turning it on until right before the stream starts, because it should just be working, but it's constantly giving me frustration. And then this headpiece is coming off, and that is unrelated. That I'm going to probably blue tack this antenna in. But our kit is body complete. We have the backpack to build, and then after the backpack, we have the guns and the we got the backpack is involved, and then we have the guns. So we're gonna finish this kit up on Saturday. We're finishing this up, and then we're gonna start another kit that my $5 and $10 patrons know about, and everybody else will learn about later. But that is gonna do it for us tonight. We are gonna go on a raid. That is how we end every stream around here. We're gonna go find someone doing cool shit and go hang out with them, support them as best we can. Yeah, so let's get that ready to go here. Who are we raiding tonight? Who is doing stuff that we want to go hang out with? Let's find out right now. Whoops. Sorry, I had an autoplay. You could actually, you know what? You couldn't even hear that. So I apologize for nothing. I have the stream muted for audio, so you couldn't hear that. So that was just me apologizing for nothing. Who is even streaming? We talked about Rebirth a little bit. Let's go raid Wiggins. Matt Wiggins is playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and so we'll go hang out with Wiggins as he plays. Feel free to come along on this raid if you would like to. Wiggins is great, got a great community. Wiggins is apparently squatting for subs. So if you want to subscribe to Wiggins to make him do squats, you could do that. And I respect a rated or a sub incentive. So feel free to come along on this raid on Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to finish the Hyaku Shiki. And then we'll start another kit that I promise you looks fucking rad. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.